Yo, I'm actually dead serious. I just saw like one of the most scariest videos, if not the scariest video of all. And I never finished it, but I came here to tell you about the real horrifying truth about social media. So there's this girl named Maya Cassidy, a 17-year-old. Like the high school junior, She's a good person. She's very good-hearted, but inside her, she felt very anxious. And it caught up to her on November 14th. I don't even know what year, but it's definitely on November 14th. On November 14th, when she was getting ready for school, she felt when she was like brushing her teeth, she felt something really tight in her chest. And it went from like something like light to something really heavy. It felt really heavy in her chest, and she couldn't breathe. And you know what? She heard a noise all around her, and you know what? All that noise. Maya desperately called for her mom. No response. And you know what? Heartbeat went faster and faster and faster and faster and faster until she dropped dead. And you know what? When Maya woke up, it wasn't a bathroom, but she woke up like above her bathroom. And you know what she saw? Her dead body. She saw her dead body from above. And when she saw her mom see her dead body, she was very desperate for her to come back. You know what? She's trying to wake her up, do all these things, calling 911 with her trembly fingers, You know what? When Jesus comes, when Maya saw Jesus, it's like a whole different feeling. And you know what? God came to her and put her hand on her chest like a warm hand. And he said, "Peace, be still." And Maya fell to her knees, not because she had to, but she fell on her knees because it was probably the best feeling she ever felt. And you know what? And God got to her eye to eye, and Jesus understood. That was Jesus, not God. So Jesus understood how she felt. He understood how anxious she felt. And you know what? Maya didn't cry out of relief. Didn't cry out of sadness, but she cried out of relief because she finally got understood of how anxious she was. And you know what? Later, you know what the shocking truth is? I never saw it later, but I paused mid-video just to tell you this. And you know what? You know what the scary truth was? So, God showed Maya the world, and it was just a millions of tiny lights on the world, a dark world. And you know what? He zoomed in into into her high school, her town, the mall. And you know what they saw? A thick web just covering the whole town. It was like black, dark, it looked like tar. And you know what? It covered all the town. And it's like cables, and you know what? Here's the scary part about this. Jesus sees a boy gaming. And you know what? There was a cable on to his back of his head. And it went same for a girl who was doom scrolling. And you know what? That same cable was plugged onto her head. And that went same for a group of students, a group of friends. They weren't talking to each other. They were on their phones you know what? They were just on their phones, and you know what? That same cable went onto their heads. And you know what? This reveals so much about the dangers of social media. Not just that about mental health, but it harms us spiritually. not only it takes us away from the presence of God, it also really, what is it like? It also really, it can't really numb our pain, you know? And social media, it can't numb our pain. And you know what? Social media, modern technology, honestly, I honestly wish life was simple. Like, I wouldn't really be recording on my phone right now. And you know what? If the devil can destroy you, he'll distract you. He'll want to fill your hands with a phone so that you won't have time to clasp your hands in prayer. And that's a scary part about having a phone and going on social media. And I'm probably going to look more into this video, but this is probably one of the most scariest, if not the scariest video. And it's also a great testimony. And you know what? It serves a great example because as young Christians, as young brothers and sisters of Christ, as this young generation, like Gen Z, like, as this young generation is so cooked because of social media. And honestly, I'm preaching to myself because I'm always prone to looking at social media like all the time. Like I always go on Instagram, go on Snapchat, look at some stories and whatnot. And you know what? I'm honestly glad I didn't get TikTok. I'm honestly glad that I didn't really see the full dangers and full experience of using TikTok. And you know what? You know what the pointless thing is? And I'm not trying to call anyone now. I'm trying to wake you guys up. And you know what? You know who you are, who just doom scroll all the time, just look on their phone 24/7, go on TikTok, just scrolling away, scrolling away. And you know what? Social media, I'm gonna be really honest. Because I don't know if I've ever doom scrolled, but I watched like various videos on YouTube. I mean, sure, yeah, I got onto YouTube as well. But you know what? That truth, I cannot stress it enough. I cannot stress it enough. Because of how scary, how dastardly this social media thing is. Like Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. What is it? There's more social media networks, and you know what? We need to put an end to this. And you know what? I'm not just saying this to say like, oh, social media should be banned. I'm just saying this, saying that take some time off. Like, take a ton of time off from social media and get into the Bible. And look, it's honestly hard because it's not easy to put off the things that you keep on doing for a long time. But as soon as you get used to it, like you read the Bible more than your phone. And you know what? Life is gonna get simpler. You're not gonna feel all that anxiety filling your mind. You're not gonna speak crap about someone else. You're not gonna speak crap. Like you're not gonna swear. Like you're not really going to be mentally destroyed. You're not gonna procrastinate when you're studying. And you know what? Like I'm sorry guys, like I cannot put this into words like what the dangers of social media might bring. And you know, I'm not just saying this to call you guys out like, ooh, you gotta stop scrolling and all that. I'm just saying that because God loves you. I love you guys so much, but look, God loves you more. And God said something a ton about idolatry. And you know, I'm just preaching to myself as well. But I feel like we idolize our phones. Like, we idolize, like, idolatry has gotten really out of hand. You know? We idolize our thoughts. We idolize our phones. We idolize people's approval. We idolize opinions. We idolize so much things of this world that aren't really so eternal. And we gotta set our minds to God and not on other things. Because social media and phones in general too, they're poisoning our minds. You know, not to be a hypocrite or anything, but I sometimes struggle with this too. And I'm not just calling this to renounce it very clear, but it's just, but this video that I watched, it called me to really rely on God more than our phones and technology, because though technology can be really cool and fascinating, it could be really idolized by many. So you know what? God really calls you today to really stop scrolling, stop doom scrolling, right? You know, like, this warning may seem a little annoying, but you know what? I'd rather you guys hate me on the way to heaven than love me on the way to hell. I'd want to really offend all of you guys with the truth than rather let you burn in the fiery lake of hell. So you know what? That's your daily reminder for today. To stop going on social media. Stop filling your mind with all these mindless TikTok scrollings, mindless TikTok dances, mindless Instagram reels, mindless stories, mindless whatever it is. Look, go to God, pray to Him for strength and courage to put off and cut off if you really need to. If you really need to, like, cut off all social media, because it could also be a breeding ground for sins, many sins, like jealousy, pride, comparison, and a big one from a Christian man, lust. Look, cut off everything that will hinder your relationship with God, especially social media.